Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Coach Matt Ellis, EliteThrowsCoaching.com. As you can tell by my voice, I got sick again, so I'm sorry this video is getting to you a little bit later than normal, but again, I've been on antibiotics for like 5 days. I cannot kick whatever this head cold, sinus infection, laryngitis, crazy, awful thing I got going on. I cannot kick it, so it's hard for me to talk. I cough a lot. This is probably going to be cut up into a bunch of smaller videos because I keep having to cough. As you can see by the title up there on the whiteboard, we're almost done. This is day number 6 of our 7-day How to Throw the Discus series, a 7-day breakdown. And today we are finally getting to pivoting out of the back of the circle. So as always, you're gonna start your day with a little bit of a recap. So the recap, again, it's custom to whatever you wanna do, whatever you think your athletes need to work on the most over the past 5+ days. So you're going to go through things that are really just special to your team, things that you think the throwers on your team need to work on the most. So maybe it's power position, maybe it's the mirror turns, maybe it's wall drills, maybe it's South Africans, maybe it's release drills if you still need to work on those, letter T position, all that stuff. Whatever you need to work on the most, that's what you're going to be working on as sort of that recap, that first part of practice. From there, we're going to move into the back of the circle. In the back of the circle, I want you to think of as shifting and pivoting, a shift and a pivot, not a spin. You don't want to use that spin language with your athletes, and I'm going to show you why a little bit later in the video. But when you think of a spin, you think about twirling around like a figure skater in the back of the circle. You think about long, kind of quick, close, spinny movements. You want to think of this almost like a top, okay? When you have a top, like a little kid's toy top, there's 2 things that have to happen. Okay, the first thing is that you got to stand it on the point. And the second thing is that you have to physically spin the top. You can't just stand it on the point and expect it to balance. It can't balance unless it's turning. And you can't just lay it flat on the table and turn it and expect it to magically get up on the point. That's not how it happens either. Those 2 things have to go together. Just like in the back of the circle, you're going to shift your weight onto the point, and then you're going to pivot. And we're going to show you how to do that when we get into the circle. We're going to be explaining how to get on the point, how to actually get on your left foot. If you're a right-handed thrower like myself, how to get on your left foot, because that is like the point. That is like the very tip of that top. So we're going to work on moving your left arm, moving your knee, and moving your foot all together at the same time. A lot of coaches teach it differently. There's a lot of different styles out there. This is how I teach it. I think it's the easiest way of doing it. Again, I'll leave it up to you guys, but this is exactly how I do it. We do that in 3 steps. First step is going to be the 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock position. Then we're going to go 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock, reach and shift, and then 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock, reach, shift, and lift. Okay, we're going to show you what all those look like here at the indoor circle. Finally, the last 3 drills that you're going to do is going to be working on pivoting into that South African position. Remember, yesterday you worked on the wall drill and the South African and how the South African connects to the wall drill. Well, now we're going to connect that idea of shifting and pivoting into the South African. Okay, so we're going to get active with our right foot, just like a skateboarder pushing off the ground to move the skateboard. We're going to have you use that right foot to push off the ground to get that right leg moving. After that, we're going to work on telling our athletes to keep their legs and keep their knees really, really far apart. Now, day 7 is a lot of drills working out of the back of the circle, a lot of equipment, like little things that you have at practice that you can use, but a lot of it has to deal with keeping super wide knees and a nice big wide sweep. We're just going to tell our athletes about that today and have them take a little bit more of a mental note. So when they're doing these drills, they just keep it in mind. But tomorrow, day 7, is all drills in the back of the circle. So we're just going to put a pin in that for right now. And finally, we're going to put it all together. We're going to actually do that shift and pivot out of the back of the circle and end up in that South African position. And remember, South African position as a right-handed thrower, I want my left foot pointing at 6 o'clock, pointing to the very middle of the front rim of the discus circle. And I want to be up on the heel of my right foot, the foot that's going to be driving across that circle. Okay, so I can already tell I am going to be coughing like a madman. So we're gonna get you turned around, we're gonna get the camera pointed at that throwing circle, and we're gonna get it started going through all of these things. Guys, as always, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to this YouTube channel and click that notification bell. After this video series is done, this is gonna take you right to like the middle part, end part of your track season. We're gonna be doing a lot of stuff for the summertime, a lot of question and answers, new products that are gonna be dropping from Fiber Sport. It's all coming out right after this video series is done. So subscribe to the channel and make sure to click that notification bell. Now, the main thing that I want you to take away from this, and I want your athletes to take away from this, is that idea that, again, this is not a spin. You have to think of this like a top, like a little kid would spin a top. There are two things that have to happen in order to spin a top. The first thing is you have to put it on the point. And the second thing is you have to physically spin it. You can't just do one or the other. You can't stand it on its point and just expect it to balance. It has to be moving. And you can't lay it on its side and just start spinning and expect it to go up on the point. It doesn't work that way. You have to be on the point and you have to spin the top. Same thing here in the back of the circle. The point is the ball of that left foot as a right-handed thrower. So not only do we have to get weight on top, stand it on top of the point, get our weight on that foot, we have to make sure that we're turning at the same time so we can better keep our balance. So as a coach or an athlete, the first thing that we have to do is work on moving our left arm, our left knee, and our left foot together. Now, I know there's a lot of different ways to coach this, but when I work with beginners and even the intermediate athletes, some of our older high school and even some of our younger college athletes that are still trying to figure this out, I like to keep the left arm, the left knee, and the left foot all moving together. So you're gonna see coaches that like to throw that left arm around. You're gonna see coaches that like to keep that left arm stuck right here, kind of like that Frankenstein position, stuck right in front of the thrower's chest. I like to keep everything connected. So you've got your toe, your knee, and your arm, and I like to keep them all connected. So if you're moving the knee and you're moving the arm, you're moving the toe. We never wanna see something, at least the way that I teach, where the arm and the knee and the ankle and the foot, they're all moving in different directions. I like to keep everything connected. Now, I'm showing you here in the throwing circle, but again, if you have a big group of athletes, you can do this in a parking lot, you can do this on a sidewalk, access road, basketball court, wherever. It doesn't have to be in a circle. I like to demonstrate and show you in the circle so you get an idea. But again, you can do this really anywhere. So the first drill that we're gonna do is working from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock. So when you do this, you can have your arms out just like you're holding a discus in that letter T position. For me, I just like to put my arm right here on my side. That way, I'm not really focused on it. I'm not holding anything, because really we're focusing on left arm, left knee, left foot as a right-handed thrower. So take the throwing out of it and just work on this side for now. And the way we're gonna do that is starting with 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock. So I'm gonna put my arm out and make sure we're gonna have the knee, the foot, and the arm, and we're gonna reach that arm out as long as possible, okay? So we don't want the arm long and close to our body. We want the arm long and as far away from our body as possible. And then from here, I'm pointing over at 9 o'clock. We're just gonna turn in. So we're gonna turn everything toward 3, turn everything toward 9, okay? So I'm looking at you right now in the camera, but I'm gonna start to move my head and follow my hand. So again, I'm not shifting any weight. I'm not picking up my right foot. All I'm basically doing here is just moving my left hand, my left knee, and my left foot at the same time. Now, my foot started to walk. Your athletes are gonna do that too. As you pivot, you're gonna start to move backwards a little bit, but again, repetition is the key. Everyone loves drills, but your drill is doing the repetitions. Everyone says, well, can we do this with a band? Can we do this with a medicine ball? Can we do this with whatever, broomstick on our back? It's like, just do the reps. Practice the movement, do the repetitions. The repetitions are the drill. Okay, so we just did that 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock position, and now we're gonna do that 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock position with a weight shift. The way we're gonna do that is we're going to reach and shift. So again, wherever you are, you want to find something. Sometimes if I'm outside or I'm in the circle, I'll actually reach for my athletes from outside the cage and I'll say, reach for my hand. Reach like you're going to give me a high five. Reach like you're going to grab my hand. Because we're going to teach our athletes where the 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock position, you are basically just kind of moving and you are staying in one spot. Notice how my weight is sort of in between my feet the whole time. I'm not shifting, I'm not moving. I'm just basically turning my head, looking at my hand, 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Now we're going to start to reach and shift. This is super important because as a right-handed thrower, remember that idea at the top, I've got to get my weight, I've got to stand that top up on the point. All of my weight is in between my feet. I have to get my weight over my left foot so I can balance, just like if you're going to spin a top. So all we're going to do, same idea, 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock. But now when we get over here to 9 o'clock, I'm going to reach and shift my weight. So notice how my foot is just about to come off the ground. So we're going to go 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and reach. And if we're here in the gym, in the indoor circle, I tell my athletes, reach out like you're trying to hit the wall. Reach out like you're trying to touch the wall. So don't stay here. Reach. Get your weight over. Point that foot all the way over to 9. Point the knee over to 9. Reach and get your weight over. Okay, so you're just about to pick that foot up off the ground. Reach and shift. 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock, reach and shift. Now I've probably done about 10, 11 of these so far. This is what we have to do. This will probably take maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes to teach your athletes, but it's a great thing for them to do to get in that habit of 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock, reach and shift. Okay, so what's next? Now we have to do the 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock, reach, shift, and lift. And all of those things are going to happen at the same time. So don't think of it as 3 parts. Don't think of it as, well, I've got to reach, and then I have to shift, and then I have to lift. Really, all we're doing at this point is we're kind of trying to lose our balance in a way. We're trying to shift so far over towards 9 o'clock that our right foot will just naturally kind of come off the ground, and we'll get a little bit of balance on that left foot. And you'll start to see how, again, this shirt is perfect. I didn't plan on wearing this shirt. This is one of our gym t-shirts, but you can see the big blue target right here on my chest. You'll be able to see that push over. You'll be able to see, instead of it being here, it's going to be more over my left foot. Okay, so again, what have we done? Maybe at this point you're with your athletes, you've done 25, just 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock, let's say. Say you do 25 of those. Okay, maybe took you 5 minutes to do 25 of these. Then you were doing the reach and shift. Again, what does this take? They do another 25 of these, reach and shift. Well, now we've done 50. It's probably taking you 10 minutes to do 50 of these drills. Now, reach, shift, and lift. All we're going to do is overreach so that our foot comes off the ground. 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock, reach, shift, lift. 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock, reach, shift, lift. And you're going to notice your athletes are going to start to kind of go, whoa, and get a little bit off balance. Whoa, why am I falling over this way? 3 o'clock, reach, shift, lift. 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock, reach, shift, lift. At this point, if they want to get in that letter T position to keep their right arm out, make sure when they turn back, they don't close their hands like they're Frankenstein. We want to see letter T the whole time. In, so let that right arm, that throwing arm go back. 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock, reach, shift, lift. 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock, reach, shift, lift. 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock, reach, shift, lift. So you're working on getting your athletes. This is so important. It's probably one of the most, I would say probably the most common correction I have with intermediate to advanced throwers that do video analysis and online coaching and whatnot, is they get here and they start to turn and they fall and they over-rotate. They fall into the circle. And when you go frame by frame, I can't even really get in the position. They're kind of like this, like they're going to fall in. They're leading shoulder first. They're dumping into that circle. They're looking at where they're going to throw, and they kind of look like this. And then They're not getting any weight over their left. This is how you teach them. 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock, reach, shift, and lift. Okay, so at this point, we're reaching, we're shifting, we're lifting. Now we actually have to pivot onto that left foot and pivot into the South African position. So go back and look at the last video. You guys know the South African. We're looking to see that the left foot is pointing down towards 6 o'clock. The left arm, the left knee, following that toe. It's all together down towards 6 o'clock. This right foot, my power foot, is going to be out and we're going to be up on the heel. So this is the position that we're looking for when we get to the South African. So we basically have to get here to end the day. So we need to kind of connect these two puzzle pieces together, all right? So what we want to do is we want to still keep that idea of reach, shift, and lift, but we've got to also pivot. So how do we do that? Because shifting weight, pushing our weight over, that's going to stand the top up on the point. But now we physically have to move the top. We have to spin the top so that we can turn out of the back. The first way we do this is by getting active with the right foot. So don't know if anybody out there, I mean, a lot of people do it. Think about if you're skateboarding. If you're skateboarding, you have to kind of push and pedal with one foot. So you strike the ground to get the board moving. It's really the same thing here. We want to get active with that right foot. So this right foot isn't just dead. It doesn't just sort of hang there. We want to push through that right foot. We want to get active, push through the right foot, and get our right leg, get our right side moving. So when we're here, now we're at the point where we have to 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock, just like your athletes have been doing. But when that foot's about to come off the ground, we need to push through the ground and get all the way around. So we want to actually push. We want to be active, push through the ground here, and allow that right foot to come around. So we're not just going to let it hang there and leave it there and expect it to just be a miracle that it comes around. We need to actually push through that foot, shift over, and then push through that foot and actively push off the ground, just like we're doing pedaling a skateboard, pushing a skateboard, push through, and that's going to help us pivot. So get active and physically push down, push through the ground, and push that right foot all the way around. All right, now as we talked about earlier up on the board, all of the video for day 7 are drills to help keep the legs far apart and pivot out of the back of the circle. So we're going to really cover this a lot in depth tomorrow. But when you have your athletes doing this on day 6, you just want to keep kind of a mental note. You want them just to kind of keep the idea that we want their knees to stay as far apart as possible. What happens a lot is the tendency is that athletes want to try to speed things up. They want to really try to move this thing along and go as fast as they possibly can. And that's the idea. We do want to move fast, but think of it almost like a figure skater. If you've ever seen figure skating, you see that the skater comes to the middle of the ice and they start to turn around, whatever that's called, I'm not sure, spin around really, really fast on their skates. They start out with everything really, really long, and then as they spin faster, they bring their arms and their leg in, and it speeds them up. It's the same idea here in the circle. We want to keep our leg really long in the back, and then that leg, everything kind of gets shorter in the middle, and that speeds us up. Again, this is a very simple way of explaining all of this to you. We did a lot of it in the previous videos. Make sure to go watch those if you haven't yet. But you want to make sure you keep your knees as far apart as possible. So when your athletes are doing this, just tell them, keep your legs really wide apart. Keep your knees really, really wide apart, because when they do turn into that South African position here, and again, we're working on this idea of reaching over towards 3 o'clock. Towards 9 o'clock. Reach, shift, and lift. We don't want them to do this and then bring their knees together. See how that isn't going to lead to a really effective South African? You're not going to have that wide right leg to sweep into the circle with. So we don't want them to pinch their knees together as their turn. It feels good because they think, hey, I'm speeding it up and I can balance really well. And while that's true, we do want to make sure we keep this right leg long. So we want to make sure we're active. We're pushing off that right foot, we're pushing off the ground, and we're keeping our leg really, really wide. Keep your knees as far apart as possible. Don't let them come together and squeeze together in the back of the circle. And finally, the last thing that you want to do on day 6 is have your athletes put these puzzle pieces together and actually pivot out of the back of the circle and finish up in that South African position. Now, if there's time at the end of the day, you can have them pivot out of the back, get into a South African, and then actually go through the rest of the throw and release the discus. This is something that we do almost every single practice. This is how we set up for our South African position, for our South African throws as we're doing warm-ups and working toward getting in the back of that circle. We want to see that our athletes pivot out of the back and get into a South African. Well, this is how you do it. Put all those pieces together. Make sure when you're in the South African, the goal is we want that left foot pointing down at 6 o'clock. And we want you up on the heel of that right foot. So all we're going to do, you can start with your right arm on your hip, just like I've been doing this whole time. 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock, reach, shift, lift, bang, we're in the South African. Now, left hand, left knee, left toe, pointed down towards 6 o'clock. I'm not over here towards 3 or towards 4, pointed at 6, and I'm up on the heel of my right foot. Notice, it's tough to balance. I'm on the toe of my left foot, I'm on the heel of my right foot. Not an easy position to end up in, not an easy position to land in. So this is going to take practice. This is going to take repetition. Again, don't worry about put a band on your arm, put a broomstick on your back, hold a dumbbell in one hand, put a med ball on one hip, all this other crazy stuff. Just do the reps. The reps are the drill. Breaking down the throw is the drill. So have your athletes do this 10, 15, 20 times, 25 times. If you can get in about 100 reps every practice, you're golden. Your athletes are going to be able to let this sink into their brain so quickly. So all we want to do, 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock, boom, South African. Let's do it again. 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock, boom, South African. Do it again. 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock, boom, South African. And we're just going to rinse and repeat over and over and over again, working on getting our chest shifting onto that left foot, reach, shift, lift, South African. Actively pushing through the ground, reach, shift, lift, South African. And we're just going through the motions teaching. Boom, when they're ready, you can have them clamp onto a discus, pull the discus back, boom, and then you can put it in the fingertips and then go right through and release into the full throw. All right, so these are ways. Remember, you got to think of this as a puzzle. These are pieces of a puzzle. When you finish a puzzle and put it all together, yes, you can see the full picture, but when you look closely, you can see where all of those puzzle pieces meet up. So that's what we need to teach here. We need to teach the pieces of the puzzle so that our athletes can put these things together when they're at practice and when they're working into that full throw. All right, everyone, that is going to do it for day 6. Thank you all for watching the video. I really appreciate it. Make sure if you haven't done so already, click that subscribe button down below. Again, guys, like I said, I have been fighting a really bad sinus infection, fever, cold kind of thing going on. So apologies for getting this video out a few days later than normal. But if you have any questions, make sure to leave them down below in the comment section and I will get back to you. As soon as this video series is done, you got a lot of other cool videos coming out, new products that we're going to be carrying, question and answer videos, and everything else to get you through the summer, especially for my USATF people, AAU people that have meets all summer long. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Couple more days. Final video, day 7, is going to be coming out.